The bank was closed, and it was an extra like 10 bands that they didn't count on the side that was in the drawer. And I just took that as an opportunity. Did I know there was cameras? Yes, but I knew they was weak, and I knew it was a way to like go around it, the way I angle myself, and just take that shit. And I did what I had to do.
You took 10 bands?
I took 10 bands.
What'd you do with that money?
I gave it to him.
The 10 bands?
The 10 bands.
You gave it to the dude?
I gave it. Yeah, I think that was the last straw too. I gave it to him.
What's good? My name is Chris Styles. This is Trappin Anonymous. Welcome back. We are back. Thank you all for supporting the movement and everything that we have going on. We are back with a new episode. I don't even really know what I'm gonna name this episode for marketing purposes. I don't know where we're gonna kind of go with it. But for now, let's call it Baby Mother Anonymous, all right? There's so many questions that I have to ask, sort of the baby mother stereotype, and I think this is the best way to get into it. I'm thinking this story will, I don't know, compel some people and, you know, draw you in and give you some answers to some questions that you might have. Do remember that the stories that you hear are, do remember the stories that you hear do not necessarily reflect real life. They are here to entertain, they are here to support, they are here to educate, and maybe keep your little homie off the streets. This is Trappin Anonymous. My name is Chris Styles. Let's get it. I sort of think in our community, it's like, it's sort of the bitter baby mother narrative. Let's jump right into it, right? Why do you think that sort of is the narrative, sort of when it comes to baby mothers? It's always like, she's a bitter baby mother instead of like...
I mean, because females are more emotional. We show our emotions more. It's like, once we react, it's like, oh, she's, you know, and we're petty. Like, we react. So our reactions aren't, you know, it's bitter sometimes. It's like, it's how we feeling. That's what we reflecting. I mean, I know there are bitter baby mothers. I wouldn't categorize myself as a bitter baby mother. I'm a mother that has bitter moments, that's tired. I'm a tired mother, but a fed up mother, but bitter, nah.
So when you say bitter moments, describe to me, like, what do you mean by bitter moments? It's like, oh, you're not gonna see a kid today?
No,
you know?
I've never done that. I never said you can't see a kid. I've had moments where maybe I didn't answer the phone when you called to speak to him, or
to speak to his child.
Yeah, but I feel like you don't do enough to even like.
When you sort of got into a relationship with this person,
Yeah.
Did y'all plan this stuff out? Did you think?
Not at all. It was summer 2016. That summer was lit.
I remember 2016.
Just caught me in a bad mix moment, and I was back and forth to LA and fucking just, can I curse?
You can say whatever you like.
We didn't even establish like a real foundation, to be honest. Like, we were still getting to know each other. We were still just having fun. He was from my town, but traveling, living out. And yeah, so we kind of had to adjust. Got pregnant right away type shit, and kind of had to adjust to that.
So there was like no relationship part. You never really got to meet this guy, so to speak, or know him. Is that something you regret doing, or?
I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but I have my kid. I don't regret having my child. Yeah, but I mean, if I were to rewind time, definitely like get to know you and what I was signing myself up for. I didn't even get to see all of that in the beginning. It happened too fast.
What about the women that sort of like, they think Trap the guy? Was he a get money dude? Was he like the 9-to-5 guy?
Definitely the scammer dude, the trap dude. Never had a job in his life. Like, doesn't know that life. So
he was definitely the
mixy, all of that. So
do you think any part of you sort of fell into his lifestyle?
Absolutely. I was manipulated. I was sold dreams and stuff in the beginning.
What do you
I
mean
went
by that?
along with it.
What do you mean by manipulated and soul dreams?
Just basically when I first found out I was pregnant, for example, like, oh, we're gonna build this family, we're gonna still get to know each other, we're gonna be together, and I'm gonna hold you down, and I'm hustling for us, and I'm gonna protect you, and I'm known in the streets, so I'm gonna just, you good either way, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how it started. But
And then you sort of had a child, and was it like a instant moment, or was it gradual?
as far as
The way he started acting towards you, because you said,
oh, it was gradual. I mean, it started during the pregnancy. He was barely there, so that was kind of like the red flag. Always in and out. I dealt with a lot of emotions by myself. Towards the end of the pregnancy, found out he was cheating, and went through his phone and stuff. He was living a double life and stuff like that.
What was that like? Walk me through that moment.
Woo. I remember going through his phone and reading those text messages, and if I could have had an abortion at that moment, I would have. Like, that's how
Word.
mad, that's how livid I was. But I was 8 months pregnant. I was planning a shower by myself. I decorated the shower by myself, like all of that. But nobody's seen that because he's, mixy, and the shower was lit, and we had designer on, and, it was like, stuff like that. So nobody's seen like the stuff I had to deal with and struggle with on my own or whatever. So me thinking like, okay, they say a guy changes once a baby's here. So I just kept giving chances and chances. And even when the baby was here, like shit got worse. So.
Do you sort of blame yourself
Yeah.
for that? Or is this something just like, you know what?
I mean, I did blame myself, but right now I don't. I could look back and say I don't blame myself because I gave my all. Like, I gave too much, if anything, but I gave my all. I blame myself for allowing me to feel that way and getting to that point because I could have been cut it off.
Did he sort of get you wrapped up in his lifestyle of the scamming and, doing all those things? Or did he keep it separate?
He kept it separate up until maybe, what was it? It was in the beginning of the pandemic 2 years ago. I was working at the bank, so shit started from there.
You yourself was working at the bank
I was working at the bank, yeah.
as a teller.
As a teller.
And what would he do?
He would send in people, crackheads, random people, just older guys, with IDs and account numbers, and I was able to like override certain shit and just leave the bank with a couple bands, and that should add up because you sending in different people doing that, I would tell him the limits, obviously, and tell him like what he could and couldn't do, or what.
How do you know the limits?
Because I worked at the bank, so I
So
know
they-
the limit for.
Or they tell you, I guess, on your screen, like,
Well, the banks have policies like,
okay.
If they don't have their card on them, this is the max that we could take out for them. If they know the PIN number.
Oh, you see, you got to talk to me like I'm dumb because I have no idea
I know,
how,
I'll step you through it. I mean, this was in the beginning of the pandemic, so a lot of shit, it was lenient. Like, things were hectic. It was long lines. People were just trying to get in and out. They weren't really like, everybody's still trying to do the 6 feet,
Right.
distancing. And so it was actually easy. So
They so worried about COVID-19.
Exactly.
They not worried about these 19 bands that
Nope.
you about to get about to
Exactly.
surely count.
Yep. So,
Wow. Was this while you already had your child?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was like 2 or 3 at this time. So I mean, again, over the years, giving chances on and off. But like, this is like, okay, he's saying that if I help him with this, we could, get a house together and do all of this, invest, blah blah blah. So I'm just thinking for me and my child at this point. I know the situation was toxic, but it's what you used to. So.
That's all you knew.
And then again, him being mixy and just the dating life for me was hard. Like don't want to deal with nobody that he knows or like, stuff like that. So it was hard. So I just stayed where I was comfortable with.
And when did you start dating other guys? Like, when did you feel yourself step out on sort of y'all, not even, I wouldn't even call it a relationship.
Right, yeah.
When did you start having sex with other people? And
last year. And that was,
The first time?
we were been done. Yeah, we were been done, but I didn't, not till last year. So last
6
year.
years, or was it 6 years?
Five
years?
Yeah.
You're still committed to this person that is treating you.
Exactly. I know. That's the part that I feel dumb. Like, I could have been living my best life, and I've had DMs, I've had, I bumped into people, but I wasn't mentally and emotionally ready to do that. But yeah, last year, and exactly 1 year ago, I got my boobs done. That was just like my major, like.
Was that to the day?
Yeah.
Like today?
In 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was like my self-care type of, I'm stepping out. That's when I created my close friends, and I was just like,
I'm up
in it. Like, me and him are done. Like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do for me. Again, with the bank shit, all them bands went nowhere. Like, so that was a waste.
Was he giving you money? Were you making your own money? How did that go?
I was making my money from working at the bank. I got like petty stuff from them, but nothing from him that I was promised. So then that's when I started doing shit on my own just to keep up, because he wasn't helping.
Well, I see you got a foreign car. I see you got, you know what I'm saying, designer all the time. I would thought, you know what I mean?
I mean, again, there's a story behind that car. I didn't even want that car. Like, he came to the dealer with me when we were, and the deal was, obviously I have the better credit. I get it under my name. He would pay for the note and the insurance, and I feel like a lot of females fall for that too. But now I'm stuck with him not paying shit for it. So, but that goes back to when I was working at the bank. I'm like, fuck, I gotta keep up with this Benz and a baby. Teller's not making that much to be doing all of that bills, like all that shit. So I was taking the shit myself. Like, it was that easy during the pandemic. So
taking it yourself. So you was behind the teller.
I was, again, it was during the pandemic. So a lot of stuff rules weren't as strict or whatever. So there were a lot of management in and out, because some people got sick or they wouldn't be the same management and stuff. So, for example, one time the whole bank got shut down because someone caught COVID, and someone still has to go in to put the cash in the ATMs and stuff like that. So I was a person that was chose to do that one time. The bank was closed, and it was an extra like 10 bands that they didn't count on the side that was in the drawer. And I just took that as an opportunity. Did I know there was cameras? Yes, but I knew they was weak, and I knew it was a way to like go around it, the way I angle myself, and just take that shit. And I did what I had to do. Like, that shit.
You took 10 bands?
I took 10 bands.
One time?
One time.
You might have been built for this shit. I mean, you ain't get caught, nothing?
They had to do an investigation, which they found, what was it? I actually caught COVID, because anybody could say they got COVID, and I got to chill at home with my son.
Absolutely.
10 days, like, I chill a little bit. I don't have to be at work. Shit. And this was during the summer. They ended up calling me and saying, like, they're doing an investigation because they have a difference in the ATMs or whatever. And they really can't, like,
accuse you.
Yeah, they can't accuse me because, one, I wasn't there. When they found out, I wasn't there technically. So they're thinking that happened, when I wasn't there. So I was just like, I don't know. I don't know who had the passwords, the keys, the codes, nothing. So they basically had to take that L to the bank. Yeah. I did get a little, I was just like, damn, can I do this again? Like, that was a little too easy. I know these cameras is weak in here. So, I mean, I was doing like little shit, like people that had accounts with money, I knew that they wasn't even gonna like notice or whatever. Just taking like petty shit, like petty cash. But that 10 bands, that was the
What's petty cash to you?
like a couple hundred, like. But that shit add up. And if it's more than one person, you know.
So you would. I'm sorry because I'm
I know this one from baby mother to bank robber.
No, no, I'm just trying to understand. Okay, so if I'm behind the teller, I go into someone's account, I say minus $200. I take $200 out of the drawer and I put it in my pocket.
It's not that easily, but at the end of the day, you have to put everything away. And I would like, you know, act like I'm fixing papers and slip the envelope and go to the back and put the envelope. Like it's a way to angle it because the cameras is, again, like I said, weak. The only reason why I found out that the cameras is weak is because this guy had claimed that I didn't give him $700 back, and that actually wasn't true at the time. This is when I first started working. They looked at the cameras, and when they showed me the camera and the view, and I'm like, how can you even tell? I'm like, oh, nah. So I was like, I'm going to try it. So I started with like $20 one time, then $100, then $50, and then gradually, like, I was just like, I'm getting paid more doing this than working at the fucking bank. So that's the only reason why I stayed at the bank for so long.
Yo.
But I was just like, something like in my gut just told me, you doing this too much, you getting too comfortable.
Yeah.
And I got shit to lose. I got a son, so let me just stop. I just stopped.
I'm interested to know, do you think you always sort of had that in you, or do you think...
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Even before you sort of met the scammer guy and got in that life, and he's coming there, bringing people in there for you to do these...
I've stolen before. I mean, not 10 vans at one time at a bank, but yeah.
Wow, you know,
I like that girl that just had the interview. I could take soap from the store. Like.
I love the fact that you say, because a lot of people I think sort of try to hide behind, well, I met this guy and he introduced me to this life and he's the reason why, you know, I'm sort of in the predicament.
He introduced me to the life, but I kind of had to keep up with it and do it on my own. So I was just like, you know, you making me, and he would like, we were in a verbal and physical abusive relationship. So he would say stuff like, figure it out on your own. I'm like, yo, you dead left me with all this debt and this bills and this, oh, I'm gonna pay you back and shit like that. And so it kind of made me like, I had to figure it out on my own and do the shit by myself. And there's no way I'm watching you in this drip, buying jewelry, designer, flights, going out of town, popping bottles in the club, and I gotta do this by myself. Like, thank God for his family, because they watch him while, you know, because I don't have family on my side that watches my son, but that's the only thing that I have. So I'm like, nah, there's no way I'm watching you enjoy your life and I don't get to...
I need some of that.
Facts. So I made it happen, but
Oh,
again, I didn't want to get too addicted to get myself, like, I'm like, that's enough. Let me
leave while I'm ahead.
I left the job.
You quit on your own?
Nah, they fired me, but I got fired on purpose, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand now. I mean, listen,
I got fired for like doing shit like not showing up or coming late, and me and the manager was always at it, so.
What'd you do with that money?
I gave it to him.
The 10 bands?
The 10 bands.
You gave it to the dude?
I gave it. Yeah, I think that was the last straw too. I gave it to him. I think I got so, mind you, he would drop me off to work in my car and, you know, do his runarounds. So he picked me up one time, not from the job, but from my house, because I had to walk home to my house. And we were driving around somewhere, and I just had the cash in my bag, and I got nervous. I'm like, yo, I can't bring it back to the bank at this point. Like, it's in my hands, in my possession. So he's just like, yo, he was like, you can't take that home. I was like, yeah, you're right. 'Cause what if, like, I'm thinking the worst. I'm in a park. I was low-key, like, getting teary-eyed because I thought I was going to get locked up. They was going to come get me out the park. I'm playing with my son in the park. But he was just like, oh, I'm going to put it away. I know what I'm going to do with this. This is going to be for us. So I'm like, okay. Like, I'd rather you just have the dirty money, but... Again, I regret too, obviously, because
it sounds like this guy ruined your life. Like,
absolutely.
Like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Is that sort of like the feeling that you get?
Yeah, absolutely. Because now I gotta regret that moment. Like, I could have done shit with that. I could have invested. I could have done something, you know.
Yeah, I guess it goes like if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And, we sometimes look at people and we want them to be the quintessential, partner, knowing that they're involved in, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it takes a certain type of mentality to do certain things. And if you would do certain things to the world, you would do certain things to me.
Right.
I just think like that, you know what I mean? So I just try to, I try to keep that in my mind, as I'm, sort of progressing. So this whole time that you guys are still dealing with each other.
I know a lot of people probably listening like, she's stupid for even doing that. But in that moment, you're just like, first off, my friends didn't even know what I was going through, really. They just knew, like, we was beefing on and off. But it's embarrassing. It's like, I already got myself stuck in this situation, in this lifestyle. I don't know how to get out. I don't know how to fix the shit. I'm literally on my own, so.
I mean, you're looking at it like people are like, oh, look at this idiot. But then some people are looking at it like, yo, that was me.
Yeah.
Some people are looking at it like, yo, like, I did the same thing, or I went through something very similar, or somebody's dealing with somebody right now and they're gonna hear it and be like, yo, I need to get out of this situation. I don't wanna be, stuck with this person. Are you guys still dealing with each other currently?
Not dealing with each other. We're co-parenting. Right now, it took us a lot to where we are right now. Like, the co-parenting schedule and arrangements was really tough. But
figured it out.
By the grace of God, I think the only way that was gonna happen was if he moved on. So he finally got a girlfriend, and that kind of like changed up his act.
So what did the girlfriend sort of make you feel? Because now you got to have your kid around this woman, sort of like this different energy.
So I felt a way because when I first found out about her, apparently they've been together. So since my son was 1, and we didn't break up till he was 3. So I'm just like, me knowing my son was around her and stuff, now I just want to meet her. I'm not trying to fight, I'm not trying to beef, I'm not trying to argue. This is past him, this is past her. I just want to see who's been around my son or whatever. And my son is old enough to talk, so he's been saying names, he tells me now.
You're like, who the fuck is
Right.
Sparkle?
It's like, yo, exactly. So we met up, we had dinner, it went well.
Oh, wow.
A little weird.
Yeah, of course.
A little weird because she was like on because she's a little older, so.
She's trying to recruit you.
Yeah. I was just like, nah, this is not that. I'm not on that type of time. Like, I'm over him, you can have him, thank you. Like, That's it. I'm not trying to deal with y'all and have no sister wife type situation. Like, yo.
Maybe he's Muslim.
Yo, huh?
I said maybe he's
Yeah,
Muslim.
right. He thinks he is. He thinks he is.
And so you completely dead that situation. But yeah, I can understand because it's like, you got somebody else coming in to sort of y'all fold, and it's like.
Every now and then he tries it, like, trying to link and do the extra, saying he want to see me. Like, no.
Still?
Yeah, no. And I gave up on asking him for help financially. Like, we'll get in arguments and I'll be like, yo, you still owe me money from when I helped you out. But I gave up because it goes in circles. I don't owe you nothing, bitch. Like, just go
Talking to you that way.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. You don't owe me. Karma hits, so you enjoy your life and I'm gonna just figure out mine, like you said.
Do you think karma has hit him?
It's gradually happening, yeah. He's lost friends.
Yeah.
Even her too, like.
You can see.
Yeah, they going through a lot.
What about yours?
My karma? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. No, I feel like that opportunity was meant for me to be taken because that was my good karma. Like, I didn't take it physically from someone. It's from the bank. They could take that L. They could afford it.
Everybody I talk to about
Listen, man.
trapping, there's always like this justification there. There's always something that helps them sleep at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, whether Because
And I was able to stop on my own, so it's like I didn't get too greedy. I did that shit. I wasn't buying like Louis and stuff like that. I was like paying bills and taking my son on trips and stuff like that, like keeping him occupied and paying for the fucking car that he left me with that he wouldn't pay for anymore. So stuff like that.
yeah, I'm guessing you can't put him on child support because
No, you can't. It doesn't work. I wouldn't get nothing. Trust me. I thought of every route that I could take, but
do you think that your value as a woman sort of decreases now that you coming with a child?
I
Is it
think in
harder for you
general,
to, sort of get into a relationship or
it definitely was. I think him being a little older now, he's about to be 5 soon. I think it's easier now because he's older and it's not at the newborn stage. He doesn't need me as much, so I have again the support, the family support. So that's why I'm like diving back into the dating stage and the dating pool now. But before, hell yeah. And I think it definitely makes a difference of who your baby father is too. Like, oh, him, like, nah.
nah, what does that mean?
Like he's like that's my man's, or yeah, he's in the mix.
Got you.
So it
So
definitely made it harder for me.
and he's sort of respected, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Physically abusive. I know you said that. Well, how bad has it gotten if you don't mind speaking about it?
Not to the point where like you see, I'm like so, but not to the point where I was like bleeding or anything or bruised up, but definitely like, for example, we got in an argument. My son was in the carrier thing that they hold on over your chest. We got in an argument in the lobby of his apartment, and I'm screaming because he's like yanking me, and I have my kid, and I'm holding my newborn, and I fell to the floor, and he's hitting me while I'm on the floor, and he grabs my child out, and he goes upstairs to his family's apartment, and that was on Christmas because I remember that it was a holiday, and I was just like bawled my eyes out. I didn't know what to do. Couldn't fight back, couldn't get my child back. I just went home. Like stuff like that. Like he's very aggressive. Like we would get in an argument going while he's dropping me off to work in my car and would like pull over and throw my purse out the window and tell me to fucking walk from there and stuff like that. It always turns into an argument, especially when I bring up something financially. Like that's where you a big time scammer and yeah. So what's the issue? So
And him demeaning you in this way and like you sort of just like taking it and coming back. What was sort of your relationship growing up with like maybe your parents or the dynamic that they had or the things you witnessed about relationships growing up?
I mean, I was raised by my grandmother. I wasn't raised by my parents, so I could now say I have abandonment issues, but I always seeked like that type of relationship and ties with somebody looking for love in the wrong places type thing. But everybody say, oh, you miss your parents? I'm like, no, I don't know what that feels like. You can't miss what you never had, so.
Where are your parents?
They're alive and well. One lives in New York, the other one lives in PA, but no real communication.
Never reached out to your mom, your dad?
I reached out, but again, it faded over time because it was just like.
Do you know why your mother sort of gave you up? Or your dad gave you up?
Well, she was young. She was a stripper.
Your mom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
That's how my father met her.
In a strip club?
She was, yeah. And she's white. So she's German. Her family disowned her once they found out she was with my father, and she was on her own. She was like 19. And apparently, this is a story that she told me when she tried to like explain why she gave me up, but she was like, she was studying for school and I wouldn't sleep with the lights on, so she had to study with the candles on, and I knocked over the candles and she was asleep and I almost caught the house on fire. So then that was her like eye opener, like I can't. So
I'm not
that's
equipped for this.
Yeah. So I was actually in a foster care And my grandmother took me out of the foster care and raised me since I was 2.
Wow,
Yep.
it's pretty intense.
Yeah. But my grandmother that's my guardian angel. Like she literally saved my life. Without her, I wouldn't be here. So
Um, I, what sort of impact do you think that has on your motherhood?
I mean, I feel like I even more so now I don't respect my parents because I'm having a child. I'm like, yo, how could you give up, like something so precious that's yours that you gave life to and not care about it and not, have no type of connection with them. But as a mother now, I just don't want my son to see what I'm dealing with because he feels what I'm feeling. Like I've been in the room crying with him and he knows, like, I don't want him to feel that. I don't want him to remember mommy was crying or mommy was struggling. So I try to like just keep him busy and keep myself busy. Yeah, I thought about writing a book a couple of times, but I'm like, I don't know which way to like channel it.
What do you mean?
I don't want it to sound too cliche because there's a million baby mothers out there that could relate, a million females out there that could relate to the no daddy issues and growing up in a similar environment. But
One thing I learned, even when I wrote my book, I realized I couldn't be writing my book for other people.
yeah,
My book was my therapy. My book was my passageway. My book freed me. So if no one read my story, I got to sit down and scribe and study and go over these memories and go over these details.
it's kind of like a diary to you.
It's diary. It was liberation. Yeah. It was freedom, because all of these things I got to put it down on paper. It's different talking about it, writing it down, like that shit, and reading over it. My book wasn't for nobody else. Sometimes I feel like we want to do these things for the accolades and we want to be number one and we want to be this, that, and the third. And I realized that can't be what I'm chasing.
Right.
I chased that for so long. All my life, I was trying to always be, the next lit version of myself. And it was just like, at what point am I going to just be a better version of myself? So my book transformed me that way. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, if it's the traditional story, if it's whatever you think that it is, yo, let it be that. It's your story. It's sort of your passageway to get to, because you harbor on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You living with that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
you're doing it for yourself either way.
100%. I wanted to ask you, so while you date now, right?
Yeah.
How do you think your relationship, sort of what you've been through with your baby father and all of that, how do you think it impacts your relationship with the new guys that you date? Or
I've definitely been told, yo, you're traumatized, or you like, because I go in for like the most extreme, like, oh, you must have been, but.
What's that mean? What do you mean by that?
I don't know, like jump into conclusions to the max, or like, or like, if you don't text me for a couple hours, I won't text you for a couple days, and then be like just little shit like that. I really don't. My patience is so thin. Like I don't, especially now dating. I'm just like, you gotta respect my schedule. You gotta respect that you don't come first. You'll never come first, technically. So
you're sort of dating for you. You're not really dating for love.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm here for the links and drinks, but I'm not here for the love right now. Because that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to I'm enjoying this free time. I've never had this moment, like, in a long time.
And you got out so much of that part of you. You didn't really get to live it up and have fun and sort of be cavalier about your decisions. It's like,
because I was in my prime and then I got pregnant right away. So I'm like, nah, like, I didn't get to really be single and live that life.
Anything that you would tell, that your younger self?
Anything that I would tell my younger self?
When you, I don't know, sort of meet your baby father.
just don't get caught up in a hype. Like, stop doing for others and do for yourself. And, you know, either way, you're your own person. You don't have to live to please others, and you'll attract what's meant for you.
What's the ideal situation for you?
Right now?
When it comes to relationships, co-parenting, and...
I mean, co-parenting, I'm still like, it's not 100% where I want it, but the ideal situation for me is just me being in my own relationship and it being like private and growing from there, and with a friendship and a solid foundation first, the stuff that I didn't have from before. And I guess now it will be more like a family dynamic with, you know, co-parenting their kids, my kids, and stuff like that. So I'll see when that time comes, but I'm not really like thinking that far right now. I'm just enjoying myself.
Anything that you would tell sort of the girl chasing the hype, looking at, you know, the money guy?
I see it all the time. All these young girls, I see it all the time.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
that was me.
they're gonna learn, yeah, but the way they're moving now, like, even faster and crazier, and just doing whatever for just to sit in a section at the club or something. But I don't know. I feel like girls like that are just they're gonna learn on their own. There's nothing that I can say because I've been told stuff and I
was
still
like,
went my
eh.
own route. Exactly.
Balenciagas.
Everybody has their own path, so just be careful.
This is Trappin Anonymous. My name is Chris Styles.
Let's get it.
That's fire. Thank you.